Spice up your content with eye-catching patterns using Pattern Kit. Pattern Kit is a free add-on with paid upgrades that helps you create unique, cool, attention-grabbing visuals for your Express content. I love to use Express to design my album covers for my streaming services for my music, and sometimes I want something a bit more abstract and interesting to catch the eyes of my listeners. And so I find that Pattern Kit is a really great option to really quickly create a compelling visual design for my content. So I'm going to open this from the marketplace, and you can already see that it's generated a pattern for me. And so hopefully you can start to see some of the potential here. I'm going to configure some of these blocks, and because I want a very circular kind of design here. And I could use this as is, but maybe I have some colors in mind, or I want to try a different color palette. And so there's all sorts of controls that you can use in here. I'm just going to pick a random palette till I get to something that looks a little interesting for me. Here, let's try that one. I'll create the pattern again. This is kind of the vibe I'm after. I'm going to click Add to Canvas, make this my background, and you can now imagine that I can continue my design to fit everything into this kind of visual design. This would have taken me a long time to create on my own, and so this is one of the reasons why I love this add-on. The other reason is it's very well designed, it's intuitive, really powerful, and really solves a problem in my workflow for creating complex visual designs. So with that, generate some cool eye-catching patterns for your content by using Pattern Kit today. Find it in the marketplace.
Go. Hello.
Hello. How are you doing?
Doing well. I like your album cover.
I'm glad. It suited the track. So something other than my typical photography for an album cover. So it was exciting to play with that add-on and discover some new use cases for it.
This was your piano?
Yes. Yeah, this is the piano cover of my way. I've got one coming out like once a week for the remainder of the summer. So if you're interested in that stuff, you can always catch me on the streaming platforms.
With SoundCloud?
SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Music, should be at the other ones if you use them. But those are the ones I follow.
Awesome. Are you going to do slides from yours?
Yes, I should be sharing. So should be able to switch that over. There we go. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so let's get going. We have a whole host of topics to cover. First off, I wanted just to you've seen a little bit about Adobe Express already today, but I want to reiterate some key points and really kind of hopefully clear the reason as to why you might want to build for Adobe Express. So Adobe Express, as you've seen already, if you've been here in the morning sessions, is this really easy to use tool that lets you work with lots of different types of media, generative content, stock, your own content if you're using Photoshop or Lightroom. That's one of my most common things these days in Adobe Express is to go grab a photo from my Lightroom album. The interop here is amazing, but Adobe Express is also great for being able to tie in with your services and things like that. So Adobe Express really is a platform for more than just our own content and our own capabilities, but a way that you can actually build in to Adobe Express and have your capabilities and your logic and your platforms help augment users' capabilities, user workflows, and solve real user needs. So when we think about add-ons extending Express, add-ons are really great at, for example, adding new features, new integrations, and these could be, fairly simple or single focused tasks, like maybe changing the case of text from lowercase to uppercase and those kinds of things. Or you can have really rich and robust integrations that have very complicated workflows that really solve specific user needs. So you can run the gamut with all these capabilities that you have that you can build inside of a browser. And so I would certainly urge you to explore the over 300 plus add-ons in the marketplace and get a sense for some of what these capabilities are, because there's some really impressive capabilities there, some really impressive workflows as well, and you can really unlock a lot of amazing workflows, help users with generate new content, or help them in terms of automating the content as well. So add-ons are great for all of that, but they can also be great for your own use. You don't have to build an add-on just to release it publicly to the world. You could build an add-on to for your own workflow or for your team's workflow. Say at your company, maybe you need an add-on to generate a report on a consistent basis. You can do that as well. So there are tons of ways that you can leverage extensibility inside of Adobe Express to really help automate your workflow, increase your creative velocity, and the like. So why might you want to build add-ons and especially ship them publicly, right? So there are tons of creative users of Adobe Express. You might want to be able to connect your brand, your services, your capabilities to all of these creative users. That is definitely a key reason why you might want to be able to build an add-on and release it publicly on the marketplace. Having this audience and their need to connect to your service, having your service available in the marketplace may be just what they're looking for in terms of completing their workflows more quickly. You can also build add-ons to help shape the generation of these creative tools. So you're building the future. Like Adobe Express has its set of features, and then there are all these amazing features that your add-ons can contribute into the ecosystem that users may come to not only love but depend upon in order to complete their workflow and really generate standout content for all of their customers, users, and audience. And of course, you can unlock new value. So you could, you have these add-ons that add all of this interesting content, but maybe some of this depends upon, a backend, and you have to pay for this somehow. So there is always the ability to take your add-on, add in a monetization flow if you need to have users subscribe or have microtransactions to add in certain content. All of that is available. You can use any number of monetization providers here. So you really have a lot of opportunity if you want to create an add-on and publish it to the marketplace. There's tons of capabilities still to unlock, and users are certainly always on the lookout for the next interesting thing.
Need to
okay, Taylor, I'll hand this
unmute myself there. Yeah. So what can add-ons do? What are they capable of? As Kerri mentioned, there's upwards of 300 of them now. So they span a pretty broad range of genres. So if you are in the add-on marketplace, you can filter by categories and kind of go through and see some of the different stuff there. But I think generally speaking, this is a tricky question to answer because there are things that Express can do, and there are things that are exposed with the Express platform. But a lot of things that people do with add-ons aren't things that we thought of when we were working on them. So I think a big part about building add-ons is kind of having your own insights and your own ideas around what might be useful in that context, because there's a lot of really interesting ways to take some of those features and do some pretty cool stuff with it. So we're going to go through some different patterns and some different examples with y'all today, hopefully provide some inspiration. But yeah, definitely an ongoing discussion, and would love to hear. Please feel free to share some of your ideas. All right, so this first one, this first one that's up is used for analyzing content. So basically, you run the add-on on your flyer, and then it will use AI to create a heat map of where people are looking at the design. And then there's a button down at the bottom to actually add that as an element back into the document. So this is a pretty neat one. I like that you can kind of add an overlay back there. But this is a pattern that you'll see in a few different areas, and historically, historically, there have been limitations about certain types of content versus other ones, and those are things that are continuing to evolve over time. So right now, if you have things like images or different shapes in the document, then it's relatively easy to kind of pull those through and do things with them. You can grab renditions. It just when you're working with kind of raw data for some things, it gets a little bit trickier, but it's a neat use case. And one of the relatively kind of emerging patterns is that your add-ons can actually react to content and can react to users' actions. So here I'm using an add-on called Properties, and if you look over at the fields over in the add-on panel, then actually the video is frozen on my view, so I don't know if it's actually moving or not. But let's see. Cool. But cool. So if you watch the properties, over in the side panel, then when I click different elements inside of the document, those will update dynamically. Yep. Cool. So when you have a user in Express and your add-on is open, you can react to the selections that that user makes inside of the document, and that really opens the doors for a lot of really interesting experiences and different ways of kind of building things and thinking about how you can create value for Express users.
Awesome. So this is just a snippet, a small example of what's possible out there, showing some of these new current patterns. But there's a ton of things that you can do with add-ons, and these are just some of the common use cases. I'm sure we haven't thought of them all. So we're always fascinated by what developers come up with and how they build some really compelling and interesting add-ons that can quickly become almost requirements in day-to-day workflows. So you've seen the ability to do content analysis with Attention Insight. You've also seen the ability to do edit and transform with the Properties panel. But you can add content, you can publish content, you can do workflow automation and connect your content to other services. You can do tons of work with copy and styling with text, as well as generate your own generative content using your own AI model. So there's a ton of things that you can unlock with add-ons, and we're continuing to evolve the capabilities over time. So just earlier, it hasn't been that long since we've actually had add-ons inside of Express, which is hard to believe. So, like first half of last year, we were creating monetization APIs and adding the ability for paths and print partners and cloning of pages. And tons of other things that we did, the initial Abounds APIs, but we continue to add these capabilities to the system and improve the capabilities based a lot on your feedback and on the use cases that we see that our users need to solve for. And so late last year, we added the ability to also understand the user's region to better format numbers. A big one was being able to replace media inline, so you don't have to figure out how to delete an image and add it back while maintaining the crop. You can just replace an image right then and there, and it retains its positioning. The ability to add GIFs. I know that was a long time coming, but Express added it, and we were able to add that to the SDK. And now you can have all of these wonderful animations added to your document, along with the ability to import PDF files and PowerPoint files into new documents. The last half of H2 2024 was also the introduction of the first foray into text. And so you had the ability to apply some character styles like bold and italic and color, underline, and all of that, those interesting capabilities. And then we also rolled out experimentally the ability to do this work around per element metadata, where you can save data on individual elements in the document. And then when you get notified that the selection has changed, your add-on can react to all of that and present a unified, reactive, contextual experience. And this is not even the entire list of everything that we've been working on. First half of this year, so bringing us up to date, we've got new APIs around being able to center the user's attention on a specific element. So you can say, hey, I need to do something to this element, or I did something to this element in the document, user, you should pay attention to that. You can bring that element into view. We also released the ability to set paragraph styles, so bullets, indents, line height, those kinds of things are out there. They're experimental right now. We're this close to releasing them as stable. There's a couple of not a little APIs, but there's a couple more APIs we want to release, but it's almost there. So fairly soon you'll be able to have your own add-ons, work with bullets and lines and things like that. Additional page metadata, like you can detect if there's a video on the page, how long the video, if exported, would be, are there audio elements on the page, run quality checks, show the color picker, which is great if you need to present a nice color picker that shows the Express color picker. And you have this ability then to let users pick from their brand libraries and pick from their carefully curated color libraries as well. Access the user document or the document links so that you don't have to try and hard code in the Adobe Express URL. And just recently, we experimentally released the ability to resize and rescale any element in the document, which I know has been a long time in coming. There's lots of challenges in this, but we were finally able to release that experimentally. So I would call for feedback. So when you have a chance, go play with these APIs, give us feedback on our Discord channels, and tell us how these worked out for you. But we're not stopping there. We're doing a ton of work in terms of building new capabilities as well. So a few things that I can say that are under active development right now that we're actively working on is, stabilizing those paragraph styles so that you can use those in your add-ons. But we're also working on adding the ability to replace metadata in the image replace flow. That's important for kind of maintaining that editing experience, making your editing add-ons feel native. Cloning nodes, another ask that has been a long time coming, being able to duplicate an element anywhere on the page, resizing that page, so that you can make it better fit into whatever design your add-on is adding into that page, and the ability to modify text without having to lose the user styling. So you'll be able to insert and replace and delete text, preserve all the styling that's around that element, and you won't have to worry about that being lost when your add-on makes changes. Lots of other stuff we're working around, additional support for per element metadata so that you can do that when it's drag and drop. So you don't have to always just rely on the click flow. Hyperlinks, subscripts, superscripts, those you'll be able to add as well. And a big one coming that we're actively in development on that we couldn't be more excited about is the ability to transform images by getting access to the pixel data. Run your own logic on them. You could run this into an HTML canvas or whatnot, or use WebAssembly and do some advanced calculation on it, and then replace that image inline. So you get all of these rich image transformations that you could power. And these will be, I can't wait to see what you build for all of these. Now, with expanding capabilities comes the ability to expand into new surfaces. So typically, you may think of add-ons as belonging in this right-hand panel, but this is not where add-ons are stuck. So we are working over time to introduce these into more surfaces, and you've probably seen some of these already. If you go to the media panel, you can see add-ons sitting in there. If you go through the replace flow, you can see the first foray of some of our storage add-ons showing up there. And of course, some of our add-ons are also available on share. And this is not where it ends. We're continuing to evaluate new surfaces inside of Express, including the ability to tie into like the properties panel for imagery and have add-ons show in all sorts of contextual experiences so that add-ons feel like they surface and are used right at the user's point of need and feel like they truly belong within Adobe Express. Last but not least, in terms of sharing some updates with you in terms of the new capabilities, check out our changelog. There is a QR code on the screen. This links to our changelog. If you want to stay up to date in terms of all of the new things coming to the Adobe Express add-on SDK, go here, check that out. Refresh it, updates on a continual basis. So I certainly encourage you to visit this page. Okay, Taylor, I'll hand this back to you.
Oh, I
There we
gotta
go.
is... I clicked the wrong button. My overlay popped up.
Oh, Taylor's getting that. I think one of the big things that we want to highlight and that Taylor's going to talk more about is this ability to really expose a new pattern with this ability to do per element metadata and listen to selection change notifications, and soon the ability to do like full on or replacing inline and all of this stuff. It opens up a new paradigm. And so I'll let Taylor talk about this more, but it's a really compelling pattern that we think more add-ons can leverage, and users will welcome that leverage or that capability.
I'm still trying to find where my slides are at the bottom. I see Taylor's and it's a screen share, but I don't know if it's me, Taylor, or there's another Taylor. No, there's multiple Taylors. I see.
Oh no, technical difficulties. There we go. Maybe?
I'm Taylor, and I'm going to show you how to extend Express using drag and drop blocks.
Not the right
This
one.
is the
Where are my slides?
They have disappeared.
They have.
It's called the Demo Gods, and the Demo Gods they're fun.
Hooray! Okay, we're in business. Excellent. All right. Well, I have a neat demo I'd like to show that's pulled together a couple of our different, some of the different features that I'm excited about, because I think that they represent some kind of new ways of thinking about users and user interaction, and identifying some new touch points to potentially create value for them. You'll hear a bit more about it in the next presentation, because we'll talk about the making of it a bit. Cool. So I have my add-on over here on the left and started it. So cool. All right. So my add-on is running, and going to go to my add-on testing environment. Open it. Awesome. All right. Here's our add-on over here on the right side. So I have a button to create shapes, which will create shapes at random. And I have another button that I can shuffle shapes at random. And if I click one of them, I have the option to save that state. So I'll click that one, and we'll save a few. Shuffle them again. Still selected, so I'll save that again. Save this one. Cool. So when I go back to these, oh, now I can't find any of them. There we go. Okay, so when I go back to those nodes, you'll see that the UI is updating when I click on those. That is the selection change API. So the UI is responding to my selection inside of the Express document. And in the add-on over here, the fields that are populating are coming from the per element metadata. So these fields about the styling are coming from the metadata that's stored on this actual object. So when I hit the save button, it's just writing that to that object's metadata. And over here, actually, we can see what that looks like in here. So it's just creating a little structure to save some of the different styling information. And then it is writing it onto the metadata. And what's neat is because we have this metadata saved on here as like historical event, I can then go and use this button to potentially roll back to a specific version. So, hooray! So this, so this is kind of a neat way to pull together some of these different concepts, and it won't necessarily always look like the same type of pattern when you're using these tools. But there's a lot of interesting things that you can do with these. So while your add-on may not be responding directly to a user selection event, it could instead be looking for the presence of certain metadata, either at the document level or page level, or on the on the element level. So there's a lot of like really interesting ways in which you can use different pieces of these to create a better experience for users, even in add-ons that already exist now. So I think that's one of the things that it's very exciting for me. And gonna bring Kerri back up. And
I'm back.
Hello. And
Hello.
the deck will be 2 here in just a minute.
I think this is a really cool demo because it shows so much of the power of being able to set data and listen to the user selection. This brings a level of interactivity that add-ons really haven't expressed before, but definitely makes things feel so much more smooth for our users.
Are you still sharing your slides? There we go. I see them. Cool.
Okay.
Spice up your content with eye-catching.
Nope, wrong one. There we go. Excellent. Okay. Wanted to let folks know we currently have a hackathon, the virtual hackathon that is available over at DevPost. There are still 3 weeks left to submit an idea. We are looking for interesting add-on ideas. If you would like to come build in our ecosystem, then please head on over there and let's talk.
Awesome. Last but not least, I will put out the call to action. Hopefully this has whet your appetite a little bit for some of the cool things that add-ons can do. Go browse our documentation, read up on samples, and I would encourage you to start building for Adobe Express today. Link on the QR code there should take you to the documentation site. You can play in our code playground for Adobe Express. You can play using the command line tools. And I know there's lots of great content coming up here to show you in even more detail what's available. So I hope you have a great time building for it. If you have feedback, we're always wanting feedback from the developer community. So definitely leverage your contacts with Adobe here. Use the Discord forum and send any and all feedback to us. We definitely want to hear that from you and see how we can further help you be successful in terms of getting your add-on in front of our shared users.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kerri. That was great.
Thanks for having me.
Developers Live. Developers Live. Developers Live.